Hello YouTube, I'm Jack Clark, and of course this is YGO Britain coming to you with an Archetype analysis. Hello, how are you? Now of course, for those of you who are unaware, maybe you've been watching me on my previous channel, the YGO Musketeer, but on that channel I was actually in the middle of doing an Archetype analysis, kind of a series in which I was talking about the archetypes that were going to become available in the Return of the Duelist booster pack, which is the next booster pack coming to the TCG. Now, when I actually stopped doing videos on that channel, I had already done the Medolce, the Magical / Book of Spells archetype, and the Heroic Challenges, but of course neglected to do the OOPArts and the Gyaganos. So I thought I would continue that and do it on this channel. But for those of you who are interested and would like to see my archetype analysis on those three archetypes, then of course you can click the annotation on the screen now, and you'll be taken to a playlist in which you can look at all of the archetype analyses that I have done thus far. And of course this playlist will become bigger and bigger, and it will be updated frequently if and when I do a new archetype analysis, so you can see it all, you can watch them all in one fair swoop. So yeah, you can click that, and of course you can go check those out. So, of course, let's get straight to it, and we're going to talk about the OOPArts archetype, and first off is OOPArts Colossal Head. So, OOPArts Colossal Head is an Earth rock monster, and of course 4-star, 800 attack, 1600 defense, whose effect is that you can banish it once it's in your graveyard to target a face-up level 3 or higher attack position monster on the field, and you can change that target to either face-up a defense position or face-down defense position, but you can only activate the effect of Colossal Head once per turn. So of course I know there's probably some kind of really freaking broken combos with this. I mean, of course, you don't have to, its cost to use its effect doesn't mean you have to, it doesn't interfere with any of your advantage in your hand or in the field, so it's very nice like that. But also the fact that it flips stuff face down is really nice. So of course, the only downside, of course, is that it only works on level 3 and higher, which means stuff like morphing jars and whatever can't be manipulated like that. So of course, empty jars not going to have much use to this, but then again, they had AD Changer already. But this looks like an interesting card, an interesting combo piece. It doesn't really do much for the OOPArts themselves, because they haven't really got many ways to actually utilize and abuse this card. But it's still an interesting card for other, maybe for other decks and other strategies. So let's go to the next one, OOPArts Crystal Skull, which is a light rock 3-star monster, 900 attack, 600 defense, and his effect is that if you control an OOPArts monster, you can discard it from your hand to add an OOPArts from your deck or your graveyard to your hand, except the Crystal Skull. But you can only activate the effect of the Crystal Skull once per turn. So this is a really good card, and of course, for those of you who know, you'll immediately look at this and think Grimro, the Fabled Grimro, of course, who has a similar effect that if you control a Fabled, you can send it from your hand to the graveyard to search for another Fabled. This one is just like that, however, of course, this is actually much better. Now, of course, it doesn't have the attack power that Grimro had. Grimro, of course, was level 4 and had 1700, which made it a decent beat stick in its own right. But, of course, this is a level 3, and, of course, the OOPArts do love going into their rank 3, so this is perfect for them in that regards. And, of course, it does allow you to recycle for your OOPArts that are already in the graveyard. So, even if you don't have a target in your deck, you can go for the graveyard if you need to, or whatever. But what I really do love is literally it's the search card now. You just, if you control the OOPArts, send it from your hand to the graveyard, and you, of course you get to get a search. However, the only real downside, of course, that is shared by Grimro is the fact that, of course, you need to control an OOPArts monster. So you have to have some kind of cards on the field to even use its effect. Although this is very easily rectified with Tour Guide, well, for both Fabled and for OOPArts, of course, because of course Fabled can get the Kushano with the Tour Guide, which means they have a Fable on the field to use Grimro. But of course, you can use Tour Guide with this to summon their Crystal Alien card, which I will get to later, which of course will allow you to activate this card's effect whilst making a steady and sturdy, kind of reliable opening move. So let's go to the next one, and this is Crystal Bone, OOPArts Crystal Bone, which is a rock light level 3, 1300 attack, 400 defense, and of course you can see this is the second part of the Crystal Head thingy. So of course, if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon it from your hand, just like Cyber Dragon. However, instead of the attack power that Cyber Dragon has, you can special summon an OOPArts monster from your hand or your graveyard if it is special summoned in this way. So of course, ideally, of course, you'll be summoning with the Crystal Head with it. Which is interesting. I mean, it's nice. You can get an instant rank 3 by summoning from the graveyard without using your normal summon at all, so that's very nice. Whether or not this will actually be used, because of course there are much easier ways to get out rank 3s, especially considering this will get out to rank 3. However, the most easiest way for you to use it is if it summons it from the hand. So early game you'll be summoning from the hand, which means you'll be using up more of your advantage. Ideally you'll be summoning from the graveyard simply because it will become a 1 card rank 3, which is very good, but I'm struggling. I think there may actually just be better ways of being able to summon rank 3s, especially considering this monster on its own is actually really quite lackluster. 1300 attack points isn't really going to do you much good, but it is still a very good card. I mean, it doesn't use your normal summon, which is fantastic. But yeah, and of course you can special summon it, tribute it, or whatever. But yeah, let's get to the next card. OOPArts Maui, level 5, Rock, Earth, and of course 1800 attack, 1600 defense. And if you control an OOPArts monster, you can special summon it from your hand in face-up defense position. So just like Bora, you can just summon it. If you have an OOPArts, you can summon it from your hand, which I really freaking like. This is really good. Of course, their Xyz monster, their best Xyz monster is rank 5, and of course this gives you easy rank 5 options, especially when combined with the next card. I think it's the next card anyway, but of course you can special summon this from your hand if you control a new part, and you can use it for shenanigans with the Xyz monsters. So the next one is Golden Shuttle. OOPArts Golden Shuttle, which is a light machine, level 4, 1300 attack, 1400 defense, and once per turn you can increase the level of all OOPArts monsters you control by 1. Now, of course, this does combo fantastically with your Maui, which allows it to special summon it from your hand. However, of course, this has changed from the anime slightly. In the anime, it only increased its own level by 1, and this increases all level by 1. So it's actually kind of a double-edged sword. So not only do you get to increase the levels of your other OOPArts monsters if you need to, but it's kind of awkward in the fact that you need to kind of control the number of OOPArts monsters you actually have on the field. So you don't want to summon this and then summon your Maui, because you want to use its effect, then summon Maui. So you just need to be aware of the order that you use the effects and you summon your monsters. But it's really, really good. You summon your Golden Shuttle and use maybe your Crystal Head effect, search for your Maui, use Shuttle's effect to increase it to level 5, special summon Maui, go for your rank 5 of your choice. And it's very, very good. Very sturdy, solid card, actually. Easily summonable, and of course gives you a lot of other Xyz options, considering of course if you do have 2 Golden Shuttles on the field, use one's effect to increase both of them to 5, then use the other to rank 6. So of course you do have rank 6 options, then of course OOPArts do have rank 6, and of course it does give you options like Exhibital and Photon Strike Bouncer and whatever. So next off we have OOPArts Mayan Machine, which is a Earth machine, level 3, 1500 attack, 700 defense, and of course can be tributed for the tribute summon of a machine type monster, but it will be treated as 2 tributes, which is nice. I mean, it doesn't do anything for the Archetype at all. They don't even have any 2 tribute monsters for machines. I guess you would have to use this in another deck. However, the only ones that really can come to mind when using this card would be Ancient Gears, like Ancient Gear Golem. However, they do have Gear Town, which will mean that they can be tributed with 1 less. So this kind of is redundant in that situation. So I can't really think of many other cases for Mayan Machine to actually be useful in any way, shape, or form, unless you're making like a character deck for free. But it's kind of random. It's kind of weird, and it looks funny. But let's go to the next one. Let's go to Xyz monsters, which is OOPArts Crystal Alien. Now, of course, first off, I just want to kind of make sure that everyone knows is that Crystal Alien is not actually an alien card. Of course, aliens are an archetype which has support. But this, I think, due to the way it's written, it's not actually technically an alien, so it won't get their support. So, of course, like on Dueling Network, it's called Crystal Xenomorph. But, of course, I'm expecting a similar name change. It won't be called Crystal Alien when it hits the TCG, I assure you that. But, yeah, let's get to the actual card itself. It is a light psychic Xyz monster, rank 3 of course, and 2100 attack and 1000 defense. And its effect is that of course you need to have 2 level 3 monsters to summon it. Once per turn, if this face-up card is targeted for an attack, you can detach 1 Xyz material from it, and this turn it cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and any battle damage you would take from battles involving this card is inflicted to your opponent instead. So of course, if your opponent wants to attack it, no. You just detach, and of course they all take the damage. So your opponent will actually have to be really, really stupid to even attempt to use this card's effect. But the real good thing about this card is the fact that it's rank 3 and it's OOPArts. Of course, like I mentioned previously, you just summon a tour guide, you summon another tour guide or whatever. you Xyz into OOPArts Crystal Alien, and you immediately have an OOPArts on the field with 2100 attack, so it's actually got quite a decent body to stand up. It's quite a solid opening move, but it also open up and make sure that your copies of Maui and your copies of Crystal Head are actually not dead so early on, so it's a very good card in that regard, and 2100 is actually quite good. And if your opponent is stupid enough to actually get rid of it, or try to attack it, then you can use its effect, although that will be very unlikely. So next off we have number 33, OOPArts Super Weapon Machu Mech, which is a light machine Xyz monster, rank 5 and has 2400 attack, 1500 defense, and of course requires 2 level 5 monsters to be Xyz summoned. So its effect is that once per turn you can detach an Xyz material from it to target face-up monster your opponent controls. Then you inflict damage to your opponent equal to the difference between that target's current attack and its original attack, and then Machu Mech gains the difference. It gains the attack points. Gains attack points as the difference. So of course this card, if you don't already know, this card is ridiculous. Of course there's many ways you can actually reduce your opponent's attack points to get the best out of this card's effect. However, there is one way that pales and towers over all other ways, and that is Mini Guts. So much so that it's actually an OTK. So assuming your opponent controls a monster with at least 1900 attack points, because that's the minimum that it has to have to OTK. But let's assume your opponent has an Alexandrite Dragon, for example, and you Xyz summon Machu Mech, and you have another random monster on the field. At which point you activate Mini Guts. Mini Guts allows you to tribute a monster you control to target a face-up monster your opponent controls. Its attack becomes 0, and when that monster is destroyed by battle, your opponent takes damage equal to its original attack points. So of course, you activate Mini Guts, tributing your random monster, targeting your opponent's Alexandrite Dragon. The Alexandrite Dragon then goes to 0 attack points, and when it's destroyed by battle, your opponent will take 2000 damage, because that's its original attack points. So of course, your opponent's monster has been Mini Gutsed, and then you use the effect of Machu Mech, allowing you to detach an Xyz material from it to inflict 2000 damage to your opponent, because its current attack is 0 and its original attack was 2000. So you inflict 2000 damage to your opponent, and then Machu Mech gains 2000. So let's assume your opponent starting off at 8,000 life points at the beginning of this. So far, now they're on 6,000. Now, Machu Mech is now on 4,400. And of course, you attack the Alexandrite Dragon, do 4,400 damage, and then its effect of Mini Guts does another 2,000, which is 6,400 damage, which is actually 8,400 damage in total, meaning that's an OTK. I know, that's ridiculous. If your opponent has Machu Mech on the field, and they summon a monster, and they've got a card in hand, you're screwed! Machu Mech, there are cards, there are decks actually out there, there are deck lists out there that can do this play stupidly consistently. I go up against my brother, who's using OOPArts currently on Dueling Network, and it's not even funny anymore! I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna summon all my monsters, I'm using my Cephalon Sword, and I'm like, yeah man, I'm gonna OTK your ass. And then he does something stupid like Threatening Roar, and I can't attack, and then next turn he Machu Mech OTK. It is a ridiculous card, and this is what makes the entire deck possible and realistically viable, because this is their win condition. And it's really quite easily, and, well, you can do this very easily within the OOPArts deck, considering, of course, they've got loads of special summoning cards, be it the Crystal Bone, they've got loads of they've got a search card, of course, Crystal Head, and, of course, they've got other cards which allows you, like Maui, to be able to become Xyz material for this card very easily. And, of course, the Golden Shuttle is also included. But let's go to the next card, because it's, oh my god, number 8, OOPArts Atlantal. Now, Atlantal isn't actually in the Return of the Duelist, it's actually a V-Jump promo in Japan, but of course this will probably become a Jump promo when it hits the States, and if it ever does hit Europe, then it will become some kind of a promo there too. But I want to talk about it as well, because of course it's an OOPArts monster. And of course it is a rank 6 OOPArts monster, light machine, 2600 attack, 3000 defense, and it is actually the first numbers of its type, which actually it actually mentions numbers in its effect. So when it is Xyz summoned, you can target a numbers monster in your graveyard, and you can equip it to it. Now, when this card, then it gains attack equal to half the attack of the monster that is equipped by this effect. Then once per turn, you can detach an Xyz material from it, and send one card equipped to it by this effect to the graveyard, and then you can halve your opponent's life points. However, you can't attack on the turn that you use its effect. So, oh my god, Konami, literally, because there are, as soon as we get Constella and Polytemis, Messiah 7, which will be a really, really good rank 6 Xyz monster that will be coming out in a future dual terminal. Then, we got another OOPArts OTK, which allows you to just halve your opponent's life points. and spam rank 6s. This is great. I don't like it. But of course, even outside of possible OTK possibilities, it is 2600, 3000 defense for rank 6, and it's very good. And of course, OOPArts do have rank 6 options very easily. Of course, Golden Shuttle, increasing the attack level of all OOPArts monsters you control by 1. So itself, if you've got 2 on the field, you increase all of them by 1, so they're all 5, and then use the effect of the other one, so they're all ranks, so that you can make a rank of 6. Which means, of course, OOPArts now have options that with Strike Bouncer, Exit Beetle, Focus Force, number 25. So this is ridiculous, and this is another option that they can use, which is also an OOPArts monster and gains OOPArts support. So halving your opponent's life points, I gotta say, that's awfully sexy. So let's go to the next one. This is actually, they've got 2 spell cards as well, and these spell cards aren't actually really that good, but I have to talk about them, just because, well, they're OOPArts. So we've got OOPArts Pyramid Eye Tablet, which is a continuous spell card, which gives all OOPArts monsters you control 800 attack. Which actually, 800 attack is actually quite a sturdy amount attack boost wise. So I don't think this is going to be used, of course, though. I mean, people who are going to be building OOPArts decks they'll be going straight for the OOPArts Machu Mech OTK, but of course this does give 800 attack, which is very nice. I mean, it actually makes a load of the effect monsters actually decent, and actually, but of course it's a continuous spell card, which means it's easy prey for spell and trap card removal. So it's not going to see use. Although it's a right card, but of course it's not really going with what the Machu Mech OTK is going to be going with. So the last card is the OOPArts Technology, which is actually quite a decent card, which allows you to target an OOPArts monster in your graveyard, you banish that monster, and then you reveal the 2 top cards of your deck. You add one of those cards to your hand, and you send the other one to the graveyard. You can't special summon monsters on the turn that you activate its effect, except OOPArts monsters, of course, and you can only activate the effect of Technology once per turn. So this is kind of like their own in-theme Pot of Duality. Of course, it doesn't have quite the spread. I mean, you can't pick up the first 3. But, of course, you're allowed to add any one of those cards to your hand, but it actually sends one to the graveyard, which is actually very interesting. So, of course, assuming you can get OOPArts in your graveyard, I could see this kind of being an engine of some sort. Of course, it allowing you to mill, basically, and, of course, add a card to your hand. So it's a good card, but, of course, it's overshadowed by Duality, and, of course, it's not going to see play in an OOPArts deck, simply because stuff like Duality is going to be the card that you use instead, because it's just a better card, and of course will allow you to get the combo pieces that you need for the Machu Mech OTK much more efficiently than this card can. However, this is still a very good card, and of course if you can fit it into maybe your OOPArts deck, it's still a very good solid choice. But of course, actually that's pretty much it. This is my OOPArts Archetype analysis. Of course, guys, I'm going to be doing the Gyano Archetype next. Of course, if you have any Archetype ideas for future videos, I will put those in the comments down below as a video response. If you have any thoughts or if you have any opinions on the OOPArts Archetype, please put those in the comments down below as a video response as well. I will probably do a Archetype analysis on the Archetypes that will be coming in the Dual Terminal 6. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm Jack Clark, this is YGO Britain, more videos coming out to you soon, but until then, goodbye.